All right, major breaking news. Some of it good, some of it bad. I guess we'll just start with the fact that top Democrats are finally trying to step up to the plate and take a swing at Donald Trump by dropping a massive articles of impeachment that highlight all of the corruption we've seen over the past few months. Now, I want to break down the articles of impeachment because as they dropped, Trump was genuinely sleeping at a summit in Saudi. This dude is over there in the Middle East trying to make a show out of cutting deals, but a lot of these deals had already been placed during the Biden admin, already had plans to take place, or it's just blatant quid pro quo. Like the leader of Syria, who I like. My grandpa's from Syria. My dad grew up in Syria, and I have a little bit of Syrian in me, right? So I like the leader of Syria. I'm rooting for them. But he said he'll put a Trump tower in Syria, and within the hour, Trump removed all sanctions. Now, if Trump would have removed sanctions for some geopolitical strategy reason, that's different, but Trump did it for a strictly transactional and corrupt reason, and that's why I'm okay with Democrats dropping articles of impeachment. This dude was sleeping during the Saudi summit. I'll get to the bad news in 1 second. But can I just remind you, this dude was sleeping yesterday and Fox News was forced to cover it.
Of Donald Trump over the next 3.5 years. I asked that with trepidation.
I mean, listen, I know Biden wasn't the most energetic towards the end of his term, but we're at the beginning of Trump's term, and this dude is representing America on the global stage and just falling asleep. Now, if I do want to go over to the bad news, I do want to break down exactly why I think the impeachment proceedings that Democrats are launching are a little bit weak. I think if you're going to go after Trump, you need to find one specific case of corruption, highlight it, and just hammer it home incredibly hard. Have concise arguments with a lot of attention. What they're doing now is kind of all over the place, and it's because they know that it won't actually pass the House or the Senate because Republicans are in power. But let me show you this clip of a top Democrat introducing the Congress Must Act. And it's pretty good, but it's not good enough.
I'm an immigrant who came to this country with just $20 in my pocket. The United States has given me so much. I love America, and I will do anything to protect our Constitution and our democratic values. Donald J. Trump has been committing crimes since day one: bribery, corruption, taking power from Congress, creating an unlawful office in DOJ, violating First Amendment rights, ignoring due process.
Okay, all of those things are true. All of those things are absolutely true. Trump has been corrupt. He has taken bribes. He has created an unlawful office with DOJ. But if you go back to my main criticism, it's that he's throwing out too many things at once here. You need to hyper-focus on one specific case of corruption. Like, what about this story? This would be a great one to go after. Trump's $400 million flying palace bribe from Qatar is just plain corruption. The Constitution, Article 1, Section 9, prohibits anyone in the U.S. government from receiving a personal gift from a foreign head of state without the consent of Congress. The luxury Boeing 747 is not a gift to America from Qatar. It's a gaudy grift plane to Trump. A bribe. It's just plain old corruption. Right before they gave him the bribe, the plane, Trump was set to visit the Middle East. Now he's there. Trump is giddy to replace the 40-year-old Air Force One with this new Golden Hog flying palace. Since Trump likes to rename things, let's call his new $400 million toy Air Farce One. President Donald Trump turned to social media to defend Qatar, offering him 747 aircraft to be used by Air Force One, saying, quote, "Crooked Democrats opposed to the gift are world-class losers." The only thing is, it's not just Democrats that are opposed. It's a lot of people who are opposed. By the way, I don't want to hear anything from this guy. You know what I was thinking last night? Why do people continue over and over to interview Trump and act like his quotes are precious? I get that he's the president of the United States, but every time I hear him interviewed, it's just the least valuable nonsense I've ever heard. Sorry, I was just pissed off last night because I was like, who still interviews this guy? If you agree, make sure you drop a like, drop some blue hearts. Let's continue these impeachment proceedings.
And finally, refusing to abide by a unanimous Supreme Court ruling. Just as I stand here in the House of Representatives, Mr. Trump is traveling to the Middle East to accept a gift worth $400 million from a foreign government. If we don't draw the line now, we risk losing the rule of law entirely. And if we don't act today, we are complicit in letting democracy erode on our watch. That's why I introduced Resolution 353 to impeach Donald J. Trump.
I like the heart. I like the heart in it, but even other Democrats are criticizing this for not being a very concise, strong bill. A Democratic lawmaker is launching a renegade effort to impeach U.S. President Donald Trump, pushing past party leaders on Wednesday with an attempt to force a procedural vote in the U.S. House that is expected to fail. Representative Sri Thanider of Michigan announced his intention to charge ahead, saying that as an immigrant, he wants to do all he can to protect America's Constitution and its institutions. I mean, I do respect that. I like how a lot of immigrants want to protect the Constitution more than Trump does himself. His resolution contains 7 articles of impeachment against the Republican president. Donald Trump has been committing crimes since day one, and he says bribery, corruption, taking power from Congress, creating an unlawful office, violating First Amendment rights, and ignoring due process. This is all correct, again, but if you go back to my main criticism, you have to be very, very concise. And if you muddy the waters too much, it'll confuse the public. So while Trump is napping through international diplomacy, his lawyers are still in courtrooms fighting this right now, trying to push back. And if we want to effectively beat Trump and beat his lawyers mainly, we have to be a little bit more concise, a little bit more powerful. If you have not watched my interview with Secretary Pete Buttigieg that dropped this morning, make sure you click the first link in the description. I interviewed Secretary Pete Buttigieg, and we talked about some very, very important things. He made some very, very important observations. Make sure you click that in the link below. But this says, this will be the third time, historic third time, Trump has faced impeachment efforts after being twice impeached during his first term as president. First in 2019 on charges to withholding military aid to Ukraine. Insane to see how far that's gone. And then in January of 2021, he was attacked for inciting an insurrection on the Capitol, of course. And we have more Democrats signaling that they want impeachment, but we just can't muddy the waters. We have to wait until the right moment. And I think we're getting there. Trump is getting incredibly complacent. I'm not even talking about him sleeping, but what about the plain corruption right here? Again, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8. No person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of Congress, accept any present, emolument, office, or title of any kind, whatever, from king, prince, or foreign state of any kind. Seems pretty clear that a $400 million air palace from a foreign emir qualifies. The corruption is brazen, said Representative Jerry Nadler. So a lot of people do agree that this is brazen corruption. If we're going to introduce articles of impeachment, maybe it should be for a more specific case like this, but that's just me. Now that I have a platform and I'm able to meet with some of these leaders like Pete Buttigieg, like former President Barack Obama, I do want to start criticizing, not Democrats as a whole, because I'm very firmly a Democrat, but criticizing weak messaging when I see it. I think one of my strong suits is messaging or communication, so I would like to start criticizing weak messaging and communication when I see it, and I think that's valuable, not harmful in the long term. So drop a like, subscribe if you appreciate the channel. Love you all. Peace out.